there, everyone, and welcome to episode 77 of Halfway Through the Heat, the world's most important, most stupendous, most punk rock episode ever of this not transatlantic, but transpacific pro wrestling podcast. I am your host here, Joe, and I am joined by my co-host, Tom. Tom, how you doing?
I am doing good. How are you doing?
I am great.
That's good to hear.
It's good. Been sick for like weeks, but I'm good now, so that's good.
That's really good to hear.
So, what are we talking about today? We've got a bunch of stuff. We've got the culmination of something we've been talking about forever on this podcast since at least a year ago. A little bit more about Seth Rollins and his possible appearance at WrestleMania. Some more WWE Hall of Fame inductees. Some hidden gems on the WWE Network. A little bit of news about TNA, or maybe not TNA. And Chikara makes an appearance, doing something that is sort of not. It's Chikara. And we'll talk about Elimination Chamber coming up this weekend. And
Woo!
A little bit about Ring of Honor. So that's what we'll be talking about. But we've got to start out in the way we normally start out, which is saying something positive about Raw. So, Tom, what was your positive thing about Raw?
It was actually kind of hard to narrow down one positive thing because Raw was really good this week. But I'll go ahead and I'll say I liked the match between Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns. I thought it was a real strong way to establish Samoa Joe with the crowd, who doesn't, it's one thing to be popular on NXT, but a lot of the casual WWE fans don't watch NXT and they have no idea who this guy is. Some of them might know him from TNA, but they really needed to establish him dominant right away, and I thought they did that pretty well. And also, it was a good match. I know there are people out there who just can't bring themselves to admit that Roman Reigns is a good wrestler, but he is a good wrestler, and Samoa Joe is a very good wrestler. And it was like a little taste of what these two guys are capable of, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was a good match. I'd actually like to see a Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe feud. This is not leading to that, but
no. It doesn't seem that way, but hopefully at some point we'll get to see like a full-on back-and-forth feud between these guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That was a one of the many high points of the show. For me, though, I'm gonna say I was happy to see Akira Tozawa show up on TV. Weird times we live in.
That was weird. That was surprising and delightful.
So. Yeah, good. It was a good match too. Good.
It was a good match.
We're just, Akira Tozawa. You wouldn't have expected that on last year. Someone said Akira Tozawa was going to be on Raw.
No, no, you certainly would not.
You would say like, what, you're high. But
and yet
here it is.
I also thought I liked the Jericho Sami Zayn match. I thought that was good, and it furthered the endless Sami Zayn Kevin Owens rivalry in a way that was nice.
Yeah, it was good. I liked all the stuff with Jericho putting what's his face on the list, the sports ball guy.
Oh, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, that's it.
Yeah, I'm glad that Tom Brady was put on the list. So what do you think, I know it's a ways off, but what do you think we learned, did we learn anything more about the possible shaking out of WrestleMania from Raw this week?
I assume that we're gonna, I don't know, actually, did we? I can only assume that, what's gonna happen here is that Goldberg is gonna beat Kevin Owens for the title. And then because Chris Jericho signed the match for him, basically they're going to be feuding at WrestleMania.
But we're going to get Lesnar and Goldberg at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we are. for the title.
And so Owens, yeah, I could so Owens and Jericho feuding, and then oh my god, does this mean Goldberg is going to have the title between Fastlane and WrestleMania?
Yes, Goldberg with his championship run.
I had worried when he, because remember the original plan was just to bring him back for Survivor Series, and then people were so amped and so excited leading up to Survivor Series. The contract got longer, and I started to worry, like, do they have like medium term plans for him, like maybe putting a belt on him, and it's starting to look that way.
Yeah, this is my guess because they are going to do eventually they're going to have to do the best friends battle with Jericho and Kevin Owens.
Eventually, yeah, yeah.
And you figure that they usually tie up all their storylines at WrestleMania, so it only seems likely that Kevin Owens and Jericho will fight at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they're not going to put Owens in any kind of main event spot at WrestleMania, and honestly, I don't think he's there yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's not. I mean, it doesn't really matter if he's the champion or not, but Goldberg will probably. I mean, I guess we can talk. I don't know. I guess we'll talk about that in like 2 weeks or whatever when the when we get another preview for the next pay-per-view.
I know, right? Yeah.
But I imagine that this sets that up for WrestleMania. So I assume that sets up two matches at least for WrestleMania. I don't know if the Braun Strowman thing with is gonna continue at the same up until WrestleMania. It might, but
It could.
Who knows? It's possible, but it must set up something. I guess like we'll know after Fastlane pretty much what the matches are going to be. I assume.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think for sure, unless there's injuries or something like that. But yeah, I think definitely Fastlane will give us some idea of what's happening. And Elimination Chamber, as we'll discuss, could also affect that too.
Yeah, that's also true. But we'll actually talk about that later.
And so why don't we move on to the news, because we have a lot of news this week. There's a lot of news.
There's a lot of news.
Last week was a news drought. This week, the floodgates have opened. First item I wanted to point out, as you mentioned, we've been saying this. I think it's definitely more than a year. Whenever the Hulk Hogan tape emerged of him using a racial slur, we started saying, like, as soon as, so this was summer of 2015. Okay, so we've been saying summer of 2015. You remember, like, he was taken out of the WWE Hall of Fame, and this is the end, and people were like, this is it. I can't. Hulk Hogan has destroyed my childhood. I hate Hulk Hogan. It was 2015. Remember when you were visiting the U.S., you bought a Hulk Hogan shirt and thought you should have gotten a discount?
Oh yeah, that's right.
We were saying since then, it's only a matter of time before he comes back to WWE. That he's still the biggest name in the history of wrestling. WWE still has money to make with him, and Vince McMahon doesn't care. They're just going to wait until people forget. We had predicted SummerSlam of 2016. That was a little premature on our part. However, Uncle Dave Meltzer, who is rarely wrong about this stuff, says Hulk Hogan will be back in WWE sooner rather than later. He said that on Wrestling Observer Radio this week. Sooner rather than later. He didn't say WrestleMania specifically. He just said it's definitely in the works and it's going to happen soon. Now, your prediction was he was going to come in as the Raw general manager because Mick Foley's heading out for hip replacement surgery.
Yeah.
That's definitely plausible.
I definitely can see that. So
I could see that as well.
It's very possible. And there's lots of people who dislike Hulk Hogan, not just people in wrestling, but people who are fans. But I still like that Hulk Hogan. I'd like to see him back.
How do you think people are going to react?
I assume when he comes out, the crowd will have a freak out. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, I think when he comes back, there'll have to be, there'll be articles about, hey, he's back, and what does this mean? And he'll have to acknowledge in some way, whether it's interviews on ESPN or something, hey, I screwed up, blah blah blah, the Hulk Hogan apology tour. But I think most people have kind of moved on. I think that the resolution of that Gawker situation probably helped Hogan a great deal in this regard. I mean, look who's president of the United States.
Yeah.
Like, saying outrageous and offensive stuff does not end careers in show business the way it used to.
Yeah, so I'm sure he'll be fine. The Hulkster will be back.
Yes, as we predicted, although we were a little early. So speaking of WrestleMania, we don't know that Hulk is going to be back at WrestleMania, but it is in Florida. That's where Hulk lives. That's all I'm saying. Some good news. Apparently Seth Rollins, who was hurt when Samoa Joe beat him up, and it seemed to re-injure that knee. Seth Rollins is reportedly cleared for WrestleMania. Again, this is Uncle Dave on Wrestling Observer Radio. According to Meltzer, quote, Seth is considered good for WrestleMania, so Triple H versus Seth is on, and that's what they're working towards. That's fine. I kind of want to see that, honestly. This is the most I've been interested in Seth Rollins since he's come back. I hope they're smart enough to have him beat Triple H in WrestleMania. You never really know. But it's also good news that the injury wasn't too bad for a lot of reasons, but also because people were saying, "Oh my God, is Samoa Joe unsafe?" That kind of thing, and injuries happen in wrestling. Doesn't mean that one person is unsafe necessarily. So hopefully this will put that to rest.
Totally unsafe, Tom. Every time he wrestles, someone gets hurt.
I know. I didn't see Bret Hart. Because Bret Hart has said both Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe are unsafe, so I have no idea. Like, this is just manna from heaven from him, but I didn't see him comment on it specifically.
He has his head probably exploded. Couldn't determine which one was the unsafe one in this situation. So
he could. Yeah, who was to blame for this? How? Yeah, he couldn't. He probably just ignored it.
It was CrossFit Jesus. All his fault.
All his fault. So that's good news. We also so this is another Raw thing. Very excited for fans of old school 1980s Southern style tag team wrestling. Newest inductees into the WWE Hall of Fame. They'll be inducted 2 nights before WrestleMania, or the night before WrestleMania. Anyway, WrestleMania weekend, they'll be inducted. The Rock and Roll Express, Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton.
That's awesome. I'm glad that the Rock and Roll Express will be in. That's good. I think the thing with them is that like they're super famous, but they were never famous in the WWE. So it's like, and it's also the kind of thing where like it's not exactly a standout choice for you would imagine for someone like Vince.
Yeah.
But they definitely deserve to be in some kind of Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they were briefly in WWE. The bulk of their career was in the NWA, where they had tremendous feuds against the Midnight Express, of course, but also against like the Fantastics and the Fabulous Ones. They deserve a lot of credit for kind of inventing the modern tag team style. Like when you watch a tag team match now, there's the person in most tag team matches after the initial heat. There's one of the good guys who gets isolated and gets the hell kicked out of him, and he keeps trying to get to his corner to make the tag, and he keeps getting pulled back, and he keeps getting beaten up, and eventually he makes the hot tag, and the other guy comes in. Like wrestlers refer to that, the good guy who keeps getting beaten up and can't make the tag, they refer to that as playing Ricky Morton. Like that was what the Rock and Roll Express did. That Robert Gibson was the hot tag, Ricky Morton was the underdog good guy who's always getting pounded by the bad guys. Like the pattern of tag team wrestling today, was established in large part by the Rock and Roll Express in the 1980s. Like, they're hugely influential. People who saw those matches and who went on to tag team wrestle copied those guys extensively. They really, really deserve to be in. This is a well-earned honor for them. Hopefully, it'll make people go back and watch their old matches and their regal, beautiful mullets.
Oh yeah, they've got some mullets. That's for damn sure.
Yep. I mean, brace yourselves. Brace yourselves. Like, these are mullets. And I don't know who will induct them. Jim Cornette would be a good choice, but I don't know if he's on good terms with WWE right now. But great news. Wonderful choice. Rock and Roll Express. To give you some idea, like, they were so influential, like, their feud with the Midnight Express was like the biggest thing in tag team wrestling. When AWA had a team of like 2 young guys who they wanted to be a hot tag team, they literally called them the Midnight Rockers. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. That was their original name in AWA, the Midnight Rocker. Like, that was so transparent. Like, you like the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express? Well, guess what?
Yeah, we've got the Midnight Rockers.
It's best of both worlds. So yeah, this was really good. It's like, so far all the like last year I thought some of the choices like, oh, The Godfather, but this year DDP and Rock and Roll Express, excellent choices.
That's true. They've all been good. I can't complain about what we've got so far. And
no, if they follow
and Kurt Angle also. Kurt Angle.
And Kurt Angle. That's right, another good choice. If they follow the pattern of previous years, we'll get like one guy from outside the U.S. and a woman, and then a couple, and then I think somebody else. But the women is like sort of, it's where you start to run into trouble, because U.S. women's wrestling for so long was just absolute dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can combine it by getting someone outside of the U.S. but also a woman.
Right, Bull Nakano.
Put in the Jumping Bomb Angels.
Yeah, exactly, something like that.
They were former champions in the WWE. It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, there are not that many. You're not going to put in like active women, obviously, and then there's not a whole lot of American women who are any good from that era. And when I say that era, I mean like the 60s to the 2000s, like that 50-year Moolah period. Fucking Moolah. Anyway, so congratulations, Rock and Roll Express. Speaking of old school stuff, I just wanted to mention briefly, one of my favorite features of the WWE Network is the Hidden Gems collection. If you go on the network menu and you look under collections, look for Hidden Gems. This is it's a bad name for what this is, which is like deep cuts from their tape library, like stuff that goes back to the 50s. They just this week added some new Hidden Gems, a new collection. It includes a Killer Kowalski match from 1952. Joe Blanchard, who is Tully Blanchard's father and Tessa Blanchard's grandfather, along with Cowboy Bob Ellis, and Waldo Von Erich and Gary Hart from 1966. Bruno Sammartino and George the Animal Steele in a cage match from 1970. There's a quirky thing with it's Danny Hodge and Harley Race demonstrating wrestling moves in 1972. And Danny Hodge, one of the best all-around legit wrestler ever to step inside a ring. Antonio Inoki versus Stan Hansen from Stampede Wrestling in 1979. Stampede Wrestling was the Hart family promotion in Canada. Now, 79 was pretty, Inoki was definitely on the downslope by that point. But this was prime of Hansen's career, and I haven't seen it yet, but I bet it's really good. And then there's a bunch of other ones, but all are really good watching, good viewing. There's a really cool one, I did watch this, from 1981, Ernie Ladd, the Big Cat, versus Kerry Von Erich in World Class in 1981. And generally, World Class's heyday is 1983 to 1986. That's what people that's when they were at the height of their popularity. But it's interesting to watch it because the crowd is crazy. Well, I don't know what it was about Dallas, but like those crowd, even though this was like quote unquote before the heyday, like they have a hard time starting the match because people keep running up and standing on the ring apron trying to get Kerry Von Erich to sign autographs.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool match. They also, I mean, they have some really good stuff. I think you in particular, Joe, will enjoy a match. Conan, Rey Mysterio Jr., Hector Garza, and Silver King versus Chris Jericho and a bunch of other guys. They taped this for a pilot for a WCW Lucha Libre show that apparently never got off the ground.
Oh man, that sounds good because that's like the golden age of when all those luchadors were in WCW and they did nothing with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it seems like it's from. It's from the late '90s. Um, and yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. A lot of interesting content on the old Hidden Gems. So go to the network, Hidden Gems. There's lots and lots to scroll through. Lots and lots of good matches to watch. Um, Turning to some hot off the presses non WWE news, and using your skills as a translator, we've got some news featuring TNA Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah. Tell us what's happening.
Okay, so apparently Pro Wrestling Noah, in this article they're referring to it as the previous Pro Wrestling Noah, which is like Pro Wrestling Noah was. Here's a short history lesson. Pro Wrestling Noah was like in like around 2003 or so was um, the hotness. It was all over the place. They had a syndicated TV show. They had, they were like on TV. They had an actual TV deal. They had, I used to play this wrestling game in the arcade, which involved cards and like, it was a Pro Wrestling Noah game. There used to be, all types of Pro Wrestling Noah stuff going on. And it used to be a really big promotion in Japan. And then like, I don't know what happened to Noah, but suddenly, they went bankrupt, and this was pretty recently. They went bankrupt, but a new company bought Noah, and in the article they're referring to them as the new Noah. So apparently, previously, Pro Wrestling Noah had a relationship with TNA, some kind of business relationship. And in this article, they're saying like the new Noah has made a new deal with TNA to continue their previous relationship. So there, and I guess from next month in Yokohama, on the 12th of next month, there is going to be a crossover show, TNA and Noah. So TNA dudes being in Japan doing Noah stuff.
That's I guess that's good. I haven't watched any Noah recently, but people have been saying really good things about Noah recently. Like Tape Machines Rolling has said they've had some fantastic shows in 2017 already. And we know that speaking of new ownership and new management, TNA has a new owner, and Dixie is no longer in charge. Noah is not it's not the biggest name in Japanese wrestling right now. But New Japan has other partners in the U.S., Ring of Honor. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is good news. It could bring some Noah guys to the attention of American wrestling fans. It could have some good matches. I mean, there's a lot of good wrestlers in TNA. So, I take this as a positive sign that TNA is indeed looking to do things differently than they've done in the past.
Yeah, I'm excited for this because though I haven't been watching Noah recently, the guy when I went and saw that New Japan show, there was a guy from Noah on there on the show, and he was awesome. He was really good. He was like one of those crazy flippy guys though, but he was doing amazing stuff, and I thought like this guy's in Noah, awesome. Now I should probably start watching Noah, and then I occasionally watch Noah, but I usually just watch clips because I'm just looking for Minoru Suzuki stuff. But Minoru Suzuki is currently fighting in New Japan, but Suzuki-gun is
Right.
still in. Suzuki-gun is his faction in Noah, so all that stuff. I'm always excited to see that stuff. And there's kind of like it's a crossover with New Japan, Suzuki-gun. They show up in New Japan all the time. So, and as we were mentioned before we started recording, that Minoru Suzuki is still genuinely a frightening human being.
He is. He's a scary dude. I'd love to see him in TNA, showing up on TNA TV.
Just destroying people on TNA.
That could be good. So I'm kind of excited. I'm glad that TNA seems to be sort of trying different things. And speaking of TNA trying different things, good old JR, Jim Ross, said in his blog this week that he has heard from his sources in TNA, who I assume is Jeff Jarrett. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying I assume. That Anthem, which is the new owner of TNA, wants them to just drop the TNA name entirely and just be called Impact Wrestling. Now, keep in mind, remember that TNA was originally a Vince Russo idea because it stands for Total Nonstop Action, but guess what? It sounds like TNA, tits and ass.
Yeah.
That's classic Russo.
It's a very Russo thing.
Now, I think this is a great idea. I think they should have changed their name years and years ago. Nobody's ever going to take wrestling seriously if it's called TNA. But you had mentioned this when we were talking earlier, and I think you're probably right. They can call it, I mean, they've been calling it Impact Wrestling for a while. But, like, everyone just still calls it TNA. It's really, really hard. After you've had one name for, 15 years now, it's really, really hard to get people to stop associating you with that brand. But if they're really trying to make a new start and do things differently and not be the Dixie Carter disaster that they were for so long, a new name is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
So that's smart. That's a good sign.
Yeah, so hopefully they do change the name, and hopefully they get some good stuff going on. I'll be excited if TNA can turn it all around. Or Impact Wrestling can turn it all around.
I will too. Or Impact Wrestling. Because I want every wrestling promotion to succeed.
Every wrestling promotion, Tom?
Every single one.
What if what was that? What was that California ECW ripoff promotion?
XPW.
XPW.
No,
what if XPW came back?
Since they went out of business, I want every wrestling promotion to succeed. Now they're out of. I even want Juggalo Championship Wrestling to succeed.
Even Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Wow, you're hardcore.
Yeah, so Impact Wrestling. We'll see if JR is right. So our last bit of news comes to us from the Indies. Chikara, Mike Quackenbush's promotion, his comic book influenced wacky promotion, they announced this week they've created what they call wrestling's first ever bingeable season. Binge watching of TV seasons is very big with the millennials, I'm told. I'm led to believe. The millennials love the binge watching, and Chikara, which is always trying to appeal to non-wrestling fans, to bring non-wrestling fans into the fold, they said, hey, now you can binge watch a whole season of wrestling, because why? They claim they taped a whole season. Chikara, keep in mind, they have seasons. They divide their year up into seasons, discrete seasons at the beginning, a middle, and an end, and everything. And they claim, they did, I guess. They taped season 17 entirely in secret. You can now binge watch it on Chikaratopia, and they skipped right to season 18. So there's a little time jump, a little comic book style time jump.
Did they hit a storyline where someone was out for a year or something, and they just didn't have a show for a year?
That was the Ashes of Chikara storyline, where the storyline was an evil corporation bought the company and shut it down, and for 11 months they just didn't do any shows. And then they had a feature-length movie called The Ashes of Chikara, which was about the whole thing. So I give them a lot of credit for trying new things and being weird and being different. I don't necessarily think it's funny that they announced this as the first bingeable season the exact same week that Lucha Underground becomes available on Netflix.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they mean bingeable in the sense that like a Netflix show, every single episode gets released at the same time instead of weekly.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Um, but yeah, I mean,
But I guess if
it's
you hadn't watched any Lucha Underground, you could binge watch all of
exactly
those
that's the thing.
seasons because I'm sure they're not putting them up weekly.
And I'm kind of like, hopeful that like hipsters will discover Lucha Underground and binge watch it on Netflix, because that would really help, and quite possibly get them a fourth season. That's still up in the air right now whether or not they'll have a
I
fourth
thought
season.
they announced that they were going to start recording a fourth season sometime at the end of the year.
That's been the rumor. I don't think I've seen that confirmed. And I guess we should have put this in news, but Ricochet, he is Prince Puma in Lucha Underground, is no longer under contract to Lucha Underground.
Uh-oh.
Ricochet is a free agent.
I think got a new we've got a new cruiserweight headed to TV
Yeah,
at some point.
he has a non-compete clause in his contract, though, that he can't actually be on TV for anyone else until season 3 is over. So that'll be sometime this summer. But yeah, I mean, some of the Lucha Underground stalwarts are not waiting around for season 4, and now that AAA has the Booker on the show, some of the people who have heat with AAA may not be in season 4.
That's probably true. I can imagine that Pentagon Jr. is probably not going to be a major star on the show
Right,
anymore.
yeah. Right, Pentagon Jr., Jack Evans, Sexy Star, some of their Phoenix, some of their biggest stars in the show have a different types of agita with AAA right now. So season 4 could be very different. Could be great news for Sami Callihan and AR Fox. That's it for news this week, but we have a big WWE pay-per-view, SmackDown Live pay-per-view coming up this Sunday, February 12th, coming to us live from the Talking Stick Resort Arena in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona.
That doesn't sound like a real place.
Our theme song is Air by No Wild, featuring Kamau and Win. Sponsors Hulu. And John Cena is on the poster. So let's run down the matches. Let's see what we think. Dolph Ziggler versus Apollo Crews and Kalisto in a 2-on-1 handicap match. So I want to say that I actually like this Dolph Ziggler Apollo Crews feud. It's gotten me genuinely interested in Apollo Crews, which was not the case before. And I love Ziggler as a scumbag because I kind of feel like he's a scumbag and I like hating him. But having a match where the bad guy is the underdog in a 2-on-1 handicap match does not make any sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That's just bad storytelling.
That's bad storytelling, unless like this means we're looking at a Kalisto heel turn, which I can't imagine. You never know.
Kalisto heel turn. Let's do it.
Or Apollo Crews heel turn? I hope not. I think he's started to finally get over a little bit.
He's slowly merging into Apollo Doink.
Because the crowd doesn't like Dolph Ziggler, and so they're into somebody beating up Dolph Ziggler, which is fine with me. So I don't know. I have no idea what to expect for the match. I think it's weird booking. Randy Orton versus Luke Harper. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Love this match. They had a great match recently on SmackDown, and like this is the match for Bray Wyatt's love. It's great. The whole thing is wonderful. I'm guessing Orton wins.
Yeah, it would be weird for him to lose since he has that title shot at WrestleMania.
Yeah. But there might be some shenanigans involving Bray Wyatt. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm guessing Orton wins. I guess Ziggler will win the 3-way somehow. They're the 2-on-1 match. Mickie James versus Becky Lynch. This could be a really good match. Mickie James has been hot this year, or really since last year, and has a good feud going with Becky Lynch. I'm looking forward to this one.
Could be good. I think it could be mediocre though.
It also could be mediocre. That's true. I have high hopes. I think probably Mickie is going to win. Like I think they have bigger plans for her. And I don't see it might be through shenanigans like Alexa Bliss interfering to help Mickie win. I think she's probably going to win it.
Yeah, I'd go with that. It seems like they're gonna do more stuff with Mickie James, and
Yeah.
it seems less likely that they're gonna, because Becky Lynch is still pretty young, so it doesn't really matter if she loses a bunch now.
No, it's true. And speaking of Alexa Bliss, she has a championship match against Naomi. I think Alexa Bliss will win. I'm kind of looking forward to this. I've had a lot of fun watching Naomi recently. I think this could be a good match. I think it could be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, surprisingly, Naomi has seemingly gotten a lot better.
Yeah. And I definitely like her character recently, and I think Alexa Bliss will win, but probably through some skullduggery. I don't see her winning clean. You never know. It's hard to say. But my guess would be she and Mickie somehow help each other out.
This, yeah. So, is next going to be the tag team turmoil?
Yeah, the tag team turmoil match. So this is American Alpha versus Heath Slater and Rhino versus Breezango versus the Usos, or the Urban Usos if you're Mauro Ranallo, versus the Ascension versus the Vaudevillains.
That is 6 tag teams, Tom. That's 12 people in the ring.
They're having a version of it on SmackDown this week, except it's like all the heels are one team and all the faces are another team, so it's almost like a Survivor Series match. So I like SmackDown. I think it's the better of the two shows. It's more consistent, except in the tag team division, where like it just seems they have no idea what to do with any of the tag teams, so they just have as many of them in the ring at one time as possible.
And yeah, and I mean, looking at this list of tag teams, I couldn't see any of them being champions except American Alpha. It's the kind of thing where like, okay, I'm assuming American Alpha wins just because like, who wants any of these other teams to be champions?
Yeah, I loved the fluky Heath Slater Rhino tag team championship last year. I thought that was a lot of fun, but that ran its course.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where it wasn't bad or anything. It's just it seems strange that they're a tag team again. Didn't they have a breakup?
I think so, yeah. But they're back.
Breezango is back.
Breezango. Those poor bastards. I like both those guys, especially Tyler Breeze. But they're trapped.
And the Ascension is showing up to lose, and the Vaudevillains.
The Ascension and Vaudevillains still drawing paychecks, still on TV.
Inexplicable.
Yeah. Inexplicable. I agree with you. I think American Alpha will win that match. I think it's going to be not like a disaster. All those guys are capable wrestlers, and some of them are very good. But I think there'll be a few great spots, but mostly it'll just be like a mess.
Yeah, I mean that's always how it is because this isn't like I don't know what the rules are. Can only 2 people be in the ring at the same time? It's going to be 6 people in the ring at the same time, isn't it?
Oh my god, I hope not. Let me see. What does tag team turmoil mean? Tag team turmoil is another version of an elimination tag team match. The match has a team in each of the 4 corners to start the match, but as each team is eliminated, another team takes its place, similar to a gauntlet match.
Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
So I think
there's six teams. You can't have four teams in the corner, and what are the other teams doing? Just hanging out at the announce table?
maybe they run in, I guess. So it starts off with so American Alpha, let's say, versus the Vaudevillains. If they eliminate the Vaudevillains, then another team comes in and so forth, and like a gauntlet match where, ultimately, in theory, the Vaudevillain, if American Alpha is first, they have to beat 5 teams.
Yeah. Okay.
Ugh. I mean, again, there'll be some good moments, but for the most part, this is just a mess, and it's a sign of how little they know what they're doing with their tag team division in SmackDown. Nikki Bella versus Natalya. That's 3 women's matches on the card, and I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. I think this won't be a great match. I like Nikki Bella as a wrestler. I think she's pretty good. She's come a long way. Natalya, not that great. I don't think this will be a fantastic match.
This pay-per-view is like surprisingly women's match heavy.
It is. The SmackDown giving the women more of a chance, and that's fine with me. I do think Alexa Bliss and Naomi will be the standout among the 3. But it's good. Like the way you get people over is by giving them a chance to wrestle. So good for them. But I guess Nikki wins. That's my hunch. Just because Natalya has been antagonizing her for a while. Main event is the Elimination Chamber match, which we have not seen since 2015.
Oh, Elimination Chamber. It's always awful.
It's the first one was good years ago. John Cena, who is the champion, is defending his championship against AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, The Miz, Baron Corbin, and Bray Wyatt. I mean, Cena retains, right?
You can only assume.
Yeah.
They're, although maybe not. You never know, actually, because aren't they building up for some kind of like Cena, Nikki Bella versus Miz and
Oh, right. So this is how Elimination Chamber could play a role in WrestleMania. Cena could lose the belt at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I mean, isn't Cena like going off to shoot another movie or some shit?
Probably.
So, it's possible that he loses. It seems actually kind of likely that he loses, just so they have a, maybe Bray Wyatt wins and then he has to fight Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
That could happen. That would be interesting.
I mean, that's actually kind of a good story because that
would be a good story.
Randy Orton beats Luke Harper and he's like the chosen one or whatever for Bray Wyatt, and then Bray Wyatt is the champion and he has to fight Randy Orton, who is like, suddenly has to make the decision: does he want the title more than he wants the love of Bray Wyatt or whatever?
Right. I could see that. I'm sorry. You're talking me into it.
It's a good story. That's all I'm saying. I'm not
It is.
It's not. It's probably not what they're gonna do, but it would be strange for them to have that Cena Nikki Bella versus Miz and whatever Miz's wife's name is.
Reese.
Yeah, for a match. That's been the rumored match forever. So if that match is going to happen, it means that John Cena can't have the title.
That's true.
I mean, they're not going to have.
And I had said.
Oh, go ahead.
I said after the Royal Rumble, I did not think they were setting us up for Orton Cena at WrestleMania, and this would be a way out of that.
Indeed, it would, and Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton seems like a good story to end on.
Yeah,
because again, they like to tie up those storylines at WrestleMania.
They do, and they have a lot of confidence in Orton as a guy who sells tickets, and he is a big draw for them. And this would be a good way to elevate Bray Wyatt, frankly. and a nice way to get him into the main event picture.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I'll say dark horse is also AJ Styles wins it back because maybe they want him at WrestleMania. They're very happy with him, and he's done good for them.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Uh,
Um,
but maybe the most sense is Bray Wyatt winning, and a lot can happen in the Elimination Chamber match. It's totally plausible that Bray Wyatt could win.
I'd like to see it.
Um,
Just
all right,
saying, I just booked a good story. We're
you did book a good story, and I'm excited honestly for Elimination Chamber. I think the pay per view overall will be fun. There's maybe some stuff that's not going to be great, but that's what happens at all pay per views.
not all pay-per-views, Tom. You ever seen a Wrestle Kingdom?
I'm sure there's matches on Wrestle Kingdom that are a little less than spectacular.
There are not. Never happened.
And, I'm gonna look up the Wrestle Kingdom cards. I'm pretty sure.
You're gonna go back to like the first Wrestle Kingdom. Chick for
Well, they have like giant 6-man tags and 8-man tags and stuff.
let's look at randomly typed in Wrestle Kingdom 9. Let's see what the show was. Where is it? Oh, is there not a list? Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. There are a lot of those four-way tag team matches. There's always like a rumble.
Yeah.
But those are always like, that's just like get everybody on the show.
Ghetto loves those.
Yeah, oh yeah. WWE has seemed to have taken that idea and ran with it recently. Let's get tons of 6-man tags and 8-man tags. Just throw everybody on the show.
I know, especially in the SmackDown like tag division, it's crazy. So that's Elimination Chamber. Should be pretty good. Also this weekend, CZW, their 18 show is a doubleheader with WSU's 10th anniversary. Style Battle 2 is on Friday night on the old Flow Slam Network, and FIP, the rebranded, relaunched, raunchy, edgy, R-rated FIP is going to be on Saturday night. You and I will probably watch that.
Jesus.
But the last thing I want to talk about real briefly is Ring of Honor. So one of the things I got my old World Wrestling Network WWN Live email update from good old Gabe Sapolsky today. And one thing that stood out is their Big Show WrestleMania weekend evolves. Big Show WrestleMania weekend features Michael Elgin and Donovan Dijak, who is parting ways with Ring of Honor.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
When was that announced? Recently?
Today.
Wow. Big news today on our news schedule. We didn't even talk about it in the news section.
I know. So Dijak has a few more Ring of Honor dates, including a match with Marty Scurll coming up, but seems he's done once his contract is up. So I wanted to talk about this. The last several months, Ring of Honor has lost its entire commentary team: Steve Corino, Kevin Kelly, and Nigel McGuinness. It's lost Roderick Strong, Mr. Ring of Honor, Michael Bennett and Maria Kanellis, Cedric Alexander, Kyle O'Reilly, who was its champion, Michael Elgin, Moose, ACH, Veda Scott, Keith Lee, and now Donovan Dijak. Well, they recently announced big contracts locking down Silas Young and BJ Whitmer. Now, in fairness, they also locked down the Young Bucks, but Adam Cole's contract is up this spring, and the speculation is rampant that he will leave. So, some of those people went to WWE, right? Some went to TNA, but like ACH and Keith Lee, who is up and coming, Donovan Dijak, they went to Evolve. Kyle O'Reilly hasn't gone anywhere yet. His first match after leaving Ring of Honor was in ECWA, his like home promotion. So here's my question: what is happening with Ring of Honor? Like it's starting to look like they haven't had a lot of juice since the Jay Lethal Jay Briscoe title unification feud. That was like 2 years ago. They're the shows are still fine. Like if you watch Ring of Honor, it's still fine. The shows are fine. It's good wrestling. They have a partnership with New Japan and with CMLL, but it's stagnant. We've talked about this. It's creatively stagnant. Nobody talks about Ring of Honor. There's zero buzz around Ring of Honor. 10 years ago, Ring of Honor was the creative pace setter for the entire wrestling industry in the U.S. Not just indies, but Ring of Honor put WWE to shame with the stuff they were doing 10 years ago. And now, like, Ring of Honor is like a perfectly adequate wrestling show. You'll see good wrestling matches, but there's nobody, like, when was the last time, like, we talked about Ring of Honor? Like, oh man, this Ring of Honor thing was awesome. When was the last time you felt like, I've got to buy a Ring of Honor show? I got to buy or pay $14 for their stupid VOD that disappears after a year that you can't even save on your computer. Like, I never do that.
Yeah, geez, it hasn't been a very good year for Ring of Honor. And remember, like even just like a year ago, we were saying how good Ring of Honor was,
Right.
but not so much anymore, huh? Hasn't been so hot.
No. And I don't know what the problem is. Like in terms of the basics, like financials, they're in good shape. They're owned by Sinclair Broadcast Group, which has a lot of money. Doesn't spend a lot of money in Ring of Honor, but they have a lot of money. They draw pretty well. They're on. I mean, they are arguably bigger than TNA. They're in syndicated TV as well as cable TV. They have pay-per-views. They have a deal with New Japan. They have the biggest non-WWE stars in the world, the Young Bucks. So I mean, it's not like the ship is sinking or anything. It's just that I don't know if it's complacency or I don't know what it is, but the booking is so bad, and they are missing the boat on exciting young guys. Like Leo Rush came along and they gave him that match at Supercard of Honor against Jay Lethal, and since then they haven't used him. Like he's just barely there. He's been doing a lot better in CZW, of all places. Donovan Dijak won their top prospect tournament in 2015, and then they just kind of let him dangle. Like by the time they finally put the belt on Kyle O'Reilly wanted to leave. They haven't really they never capitalized on Elgin's popularity after his run in the G1 tournament. I mean, ACH, he was doing great for them, and he went to sign with Evolve, which doesn't even have cable or syndicated TV. But it seems like a better choice right now because you get the eye of the WWE is on you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah, it's weird that you'd think like it's weird that someone would leave Ring of Honor to sign to Evolve, but when you think about it, like it's kind of not so weird.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And Cedric Alexander was in Ring of Honor. They did nothing with him. Now he's in WWE. Tommaso Ciampa, not that long ago, was in Ring of Honor, and they couldn't think of anything to do with him. And now he's a big star in NXT. Like, they just keep missing the boat on talented guys who are up and coming. They turned David Starr tried out for them, and they're like, no, not interested. And now he's like tearing up the indies. He's the WXW Shotgun Champion. He's big in Europe. He's big in the U.S. It's a matter of time before he's in Evolve or on NXT or PWG or something like. And they're just kind of giving us the same thing over. Like, do we really need to see the Briscoes, the Young Bucks, and the Motor City Machine Guns again?
Yeah, they've really gotten to this kind of I don't know what it is. It's like a time loop. They just keep repeating everything over and over again. and all of their guys are leaving because of it.
Yeah, and I can't blame those guys. Um, why would you want to stick around if like you're not getting the opportunities and they don't seem to be doing anything new or different? And all like look at the way wrestling has changed just in the last like year and a half. All around you, all this stuff is changing and there's all these new opportunities opening up, and the WWE, which was so boring for so long, is suddenly experimenting and doing all kinds of crazy new stuff. And like you've still got like Delirious booking another four-way tag match, and let's put the belt on Adam Cole, even though he's going to leave the company, or let's have a tournament for the number one contender and Jay Briscoe and Dalton Castle, and like that, Dalton Castle is a lot of fun, but they haven't booked him that well.
Yeah, I mean he's good. I like Dalton Castle, but who knows what they're gonna do with him?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm at a loss. I don't know, and it because I like Ring of Honor a lot. Um, and I've had so much fun watching Ring of Honor over the years. It was the gold standard in U.S. indie wrestling for so long, and even U.S. wrestling. Like, there was a time, spanning years, when Ring of Honor was better than WWE. When you wanted to watch a good wrestling program, you'd watch Ring of Honor because WWE sucked. And now that's not the case. I mean, and part of the reason why is WWE has a ton of ex-Ring of Honor people. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's new booking. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just think they're really stale right now, and they've been stale for a while. And you can't sit still too long in the current environment. Sooner or later, you got to try something because they have a big advantage they can sit on with Sinclair and everything, but TNA is making a lot of changes. And TNA starts doing things differently, and TNA has a built-in audience. And the next thing you know, people will start going, and people already, like Moose and Mike Bennett went to TNA from Ring of Honor. The Wolves went to TNA from Ring of Honor. I don't know how long Ring of Honor can kind of just rest on its laurels and coast on its reputation, but I'm hoping they kind of snap out of it because I would like to see them do better.
Yeah, I hope they do better. Actually, I mean, because there was a point where everyone was really excited for Ring of Honor, and that point is not so. It doesn't feel so close anymore.
Nope. Yeah, it feels like a long time ago that we were talking about how great Ring of Honor was. It wasn't that long ago, but they've really they seem like they're in free fall, and like when you start to see more and more people leaving, like they lost their entire commentary team.
It's weird when you lose the commentary team.
It is weird when you lose the commentary team. And when like Veda Scott, they were giving her spot on commentary, and they were building the Women of Honor thing around her, and she just left without like anything else lined up other than all the indie stuff she works. And it's one of those things where it's like that kind of makes sense. Keith Lee, it makes sense that he'd sign with Evolve over Ring of Honor, even though he's like an up and coming guy. And if you want to make a bigger splash, and you're young and up and coming, honestly, right now Evolve sort of is a better choice, a better fit than Ring of Honor. It's weird to say that, but it is.
It's true. What can you do? You can't. I wonder what's up with them though. I wonder if they. I mean, they must realize that like some shit's going on.
Yeah, after a while, like when like some of the biggest names in your roster are leaving, their champion left right after getting the belt, and it looks likely that their current champion is going to leave soon. After a while, you got to. I mean, you would hope they would start to say, "Hey, is something going on?
What? Do we have some issue?"
No. Time for another 8-man tag.
8-man tags. They're always exciting.
Nothing like a good 8-man tag. All right, that's our concern corner for the week. Ring of Honor Concern Corner. I don't think there's anything else to say. If you enjoy listening to us pontificate, well, then you can get more pontification and also look at pictures by pointing your internet machine to closetofanxiety.tumblr.com or hockeyandjoe.tumblr.com. There's a lot of content to choose from. Discussions of Jay Briscoe's hair, pictures of old kayfabe magazines, a ranking of U.S. wrestling promotions. A lot of good stuff. You can also follow us on Twitter. I'm at TJ Breen. Joe is at XCornmuffinX. We live tweet wrestling this Saturday night Eastern Time in the U.S., which will be Sunday morning in Japan. Probably be live tweeting FIP's edgy, edgelord, R-rated show, FIP Ascension.
Not related to the Ascension.
Not related to the Ascension. Not related to the Ascension. So those are our ways to get more wrestling stuff from us. And you can also, if you like to read, and who doesn't, you can go on the old Amazon.com, actually wherever books are sold online. And well, not wherever, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, basically. And get, and also Walmart, weirdly. And you can get yourself a copy of 3 Moves of Doom, which is a book. It's 3 stories. I wrote one, Joe wrote one, acclaimed horror author Matthew M. Bartlett wrote one. And they are horror stories about the world of professional wrestling. Joe also did the cover art and made the quirky ads, like the ads you would find in old wrestling magazines that pepper the book. It's a pretty good thing. If you like wrestling, you like horror, it should be right up your alley. If you buy a copy and you like it, we urge you to write a review on Amazon or Goodreads. If you buy a copy and write a good review of it, you are forever part of our gang.
That's absolutely true.
And we will kill for you. So keep that in mind. 3 Moves of Doom. All right, that's all I have. What about you?
I've got nothing. That's it. That's all we got.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Enjoy Elimination Chamber and any other wrestling you watch this week. We'll be back next week.
See you guys next time.